Alright, so I'm outside of a 2019 Honda Civic EXL. I figured I'd start here, and this way if you want to pause and there's any specific feature you're looking for on the sticker, you could easily find it. So hopefully this helps you out as far as that goes. So let's start at the back of the car and I'll walk you around it. The first thing I want to point out is, well, I'll give you a profile view so you can get an idea for the wheels and everything like that of the vehicle. So that's what's going on from this standpoint. So the first thing I usually like to point out to people is how the key fob works and remote start. So on it, key does have remote start. To use it, you press the lock button first to make sure the doors are locked. Once they're locked, you press and hold the remote start button for a couple seconds, and then it'll flash at you, and then it'll crank up. So now my car is cranked up. So run for 10 minutes. If I want to extend it, I can press that same sequence again and run it for an additional 10, or I can press the unlock button, then the remote start button, and I can turn the car off. So now I've turned it back off. So it has keyless entry, so when I walk up to the back of the car, I can just touch underneath. There's a little rubber grommet you can touch. That'll pop it open. You can see my backup cameras right here additionally too. So down in the trunk area, first thing I'll point out is I do come with carpeted floor mats. That's what's right there. I do have a 60-40 split back there, so one release, my second release, and then you just push them down. Now, I do have a full diameter spare, so full height, just not full width. So it's not a donut, and it does come with a spare, not a tire replacement kit. You can see all my jack and accessories here, and then below that, you can see I do have a funnel right here, which I'll explain in just one second. So the funnel is going to be related to your gas cap. So let's go over that real quick. First thing I'll point out, and you probably didn't see that, but if the doors are locked, this is locked. If I unlock the doors, this unlocks with it, so it's connected to your door locks. So you'll notice this has a valve that pushes back on it, so it's capless. So I don't need to worry about setting off my check engine light because my cap isn't on tight enough. If I ran out of gas and was going to use a gas can, that's where that funnel comes into play because it'll hold it open to where I can pour gas in. So that's the function of that funnel that you saw, right? So I'm going to close that back up and we'll move to the second row. So this model is lunar silver with a black interior, so it's going to have the black leather since it is an EXL model. It does have restraints for all three seats. I've got a flip down if I want a cup holder, and then I've got cup holders over there in the doors too. And it is set up for, car seats and whatnot, so I've got places for that. You can see the mark off spots right here, here, and here to let you know. So that is the second row of this vehicle. Now, from the front, it is keyless entry, so like I said, I can walk up, put my hand on the door handle, it'll unlock to lock it if I was getting out. Press that, now it's locked, I can walk away. So I don't have to get the key fob out of my pocket. So hand in, you're popped open and ready to rock. So let's go ahead and crank this car up, and we'll show you how it works. So first thing, foot on the brake, press the start button, and it'll fire up for me. And then we'll go through some features. So I am sliding the seat back right now. It is a powered seat, which I probably should have pointed out beforehand, but you can see my controls are all right here. So I do have controls to adjust the seat if I need to, up, down, back, forth, and then my lower, my back support. So that is what is going on from there. All right, so let's start you off on the door. So over here on the door, I've got my window controls. My driver and passenger side are auto up down, so I can tap them once and send a window down, or I can send it all the way up. My window locks are right here, my door locks, and then moving up my mirror control, so left and right, and then I can adjust on the pad to adjust them, right? So that's what's going on there. Now moving up onto the dash. The first thing I'm pointing out is you'll see a green LED, and this is my road departure mitigation. So if I start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it's gonna give me an audible alert, and then it'll shake the wheel to let me know, hey, wake up, pay attention, you're driving off the side of the road. So you can see I can turn it on and off, and it'll give me a warning up here too. So I'm gonna turn it back on. The one above that is collision mitigation braking. So this works with your vehicle. It's going to use a radar down on the front end of the grille to detect cars in front of you. If it's looking like I'm going to rear end a car, first it'll give me an audible alert, it'll flash in the dash, and then it'll actually start to apply the brakes to help prevent the accident. So that's what the purpose of this function is. So to turn that off, I would have to press and hold for a couple seconds, and then it lets me know that it's off. Same thing to turn it on, you got to press and hold. Now it's back on. So this isn't something you can accidentally bump and turn on or off. Now the next one is vehicle stability assist. It works the same way in the event that you have to hold it down to turn it on and off. All right, so I'm gonna hold it down. Now what this function is in the event that I go into skid, it's gonna transfer power from whichever wheel has less traction over to the wheel that has better traction to help correct the skid. So this is always running. I can't imagine a reason you wanna turn this off unless you were stuck in the mud, you wanted to spin your tires to get it going again. Now, on your left blinker stalk over here, I'll point out a couple things. You do have auto on-off headlights, and you do have fog light controls right there. Now, on the tip of the blinker stalk, there's a button right here, but I'll show you first how it works. If I turn my right blinker on, it's gonna fire on a camera. It's called Honda LaneWatch over on my right side. So you can see some hash marks too. Red mine is where the end of my car is. Red to orange would be a car length, and then orange to orange would be a secondary car length. So this is if I was driving down the highway and I exited, right? So that's how this works. I don't have to turn my right blinker on to do that. I can actually turn that function off if I want and just set it to where when I press this button on the tip of the blinker stock, it'll turn that camera on and off. So you can see when I touch it, it comes on. So you can set up to where if that's the only way you want to turn it on, and then when I press it again, it turns off, I can do that. And that's called Honda LaneWatch is what that camera is. So on the left side of your steering wheel, you're gonna notice your Bluetooth controls down here. So to answer a call, to hang up or go back, and then your voice command. So I'd press this, and say call so-and-so. Now this is also gonna work with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to give me access to Siri or OK Google. So that's what's going on from here. Now the I button up here is gonna change the menus up here. So when I press it, it's gonna start toggling through different menus, right? So this will give me like my oil life if I wanna see what that is. If I wanted to see what audio I was listening to, I could jump over to that, which it should be pulling up, yeah, FM right now. And then if I want to toggle through some audio, like jump between Sirius XM or AM or anything I've hooked up, USB, Bluetooth, all I got to do is press up on this arrow and you can see up there it's adjusting, right? So that's how I'm doing that. All right, so let's keep jumping through some things. Bluetooth, this just will allow me to jump over and get to phone calls, that sort of thing. If I wanted to switch between miles per hour or kilometers an hour, I could absolutely do that. And then this is like tripometer information. So I've got range, my how many miles in this tank of gas, which is 307. This is probably when it got moved in the parking lot, the average miles per gallon. And then down below you can see temperature, how many miles are on the car, o'clock, that sort of thing. Now I can get a lot of that same info over here if I press the home button and then I jump over to the info button. So if I want to view it here, if I was taking a long trip and just leave it up, I absolutely could and just have that same info writing there. So 307, previous trips and things of that nature. So it just depends on where you want to see this info, right? So that's how I'm working through, and then this is just going to be related to torque and function in the car, right? And all I'm using is the I button to toggle through these screens and then press enter to select them. Now, volume controls on the car, I would use the plus and minus right here. Once I have a station pulled up, like if I'm listening to audio, so let me jump back over to that. And you can see right here, I've got FM going and I've got all my presets down here. So if I press to the left or the right, so I'm gonna press the left and you'll notice it's gonna toggle through and jump between presets. And it'll let me know, and it'll also tell you it's doing it up here too. So just a couple different ways you can view it, but it's just nice to be able to see exactly what it's doing, right? So that's the left side of the steering wheel. Now on the right side, you're gonna have some additional Honda sensing features. So if I press the main button, you're gonna see ACC and LKS come on, and that's in the green up there flashing at me. ACC stands for Adaptive Cruise Control, and LKS stands for Lane Keep Assist. Now, Adaptive Cruise Control. When I get up to the speed I wanna set, I would press set. Now from there, now let's say I'm going 65, I would select the distance it's gonna keep between me and the car in front of me. Now when I press this button, you're gonna see boxes appear up here. The more boxes, the more space it's gonna keep between me and the car in front of me, right? So I set it to 65, the guy in front of me keeps slowing down and then speeding back up. It'll keep that designated difference slow down and speed up with him, and it'll keep taking me back up to whatever designated speed I've set. Now if you're saying, hey man, I don't need all that, I just want classic cruise control, no big deal. Press and hold that button. It'll flip over and say cruise mode now. Now you're just using classic cruise control to where you've got set, cancel, and resume. If you want to flip back, press and hold. Now I'm back to adaptive cruise control, right? So easy enough to do. Now the second feature over here is called Lane Keep Assist, and that uses this button right here. So when you press that, you're gonna see some dotted lines appear up there, so that's what's flashing at you. Now what it does is it uses the camera that's up in this box to detect the lines on the road. And now when I'm going over 45 miles an hour, up to 90 miles an hour, what it will do is use that camera to detect those lines. You'll see them fill in solid, meaning it's now reading the road. And if I start to drift out of my lane, it'll actually correct for me and keep me centered. So it's designed just to help you, prevent you from drifting in case you get distracted by, you spilt your coffee, your kids are talking to you, your dog jumped on you. You can fill in the blank with whatever might work for you as far as being a distraction, okay? So that's what the purpose of this is. Now, moving over to your right blinker stock, this is gonna be all windshield wiper controls. You just pull down, it turns them on as you can see, and they are intermittent so I can adjust the speeds. Now moving over to my touchscreen, the first thing I want to show you is the backup camera. So I'm going to flip it into reverse and throw that on for you so you can see it. So my backup camera, I've got my guidelines turned on right now, which you can turn on and off. It's up to you. It's about 6 inches from your car. This is going to be about 2.5 to 3 feet from your car, just to give you like an idea for where I'm at, right? So I've got a wide angle view. I've got just a normal backup camera, and then this one is aimed straight down. So now you can see that 6 inches, about 2.5, 3 feet from my car. So that car sitting behind me is pretty darn close. So if I was parallel parking, I'd want the other car's front end to be on the other side of this solid line. So that way you can see all those different views, right? So that's my backup camera for this car. Now, from the home screen, I'm gonna show you a couple things. The first thing I'm gonna show is just general screen settings, and this is just how it's laid out for you, right? So nothing too magical or special here as far as what I'm doing. But I can move stuff around. So if you want to shift stuff and hey, I mainly use this button, which is my smart connection, which would be Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and my audio, then maybe I set up that if I want them lopsided, or maybe I move one back over if I want them to be, evened out for myself, or I could get rid of them completely if I only wanted 2 buttons up there. Once I'm done, press OK. Now it's set, right? So nothing to that. So I'll start you on audio and show you all your options. Up here, you'll see a source button. If I touch that, it'll pull everything up. So I've got FM, I've got AM, I've got Sirius XM satellite, so you get that for 3 months. USBs that I can plug into. One of my USBs is right down there. You can see it flipped open, and then it's running to a wire that comes up under here. And then I've got a secondary USB that's right down there in the bottom. So I could plug in like a thumb drive and listen to music, or plug in my phone, or and be able to play music through it if I want to go that route too. So just 2 different ways to do some of the same things. Anything with an eye you can pretty much plug in and play, or connect through Bluetooth and do the same thing, whether it be an iPod or if you want to connect it up via the USB. So that's what's going on from there. It is Pandora compatible, and then you can obviously use the smart phone connection option. So this would be Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I plug my phone into the USB, which you saw the USB cord right there. If you're Android based, you'll need to download the Android Auto app. If you're Apple CarPlay, you don't need to do anything, just plug your phone in. It'll actually connect up your phone for Bluetooth, so if you've never connected up a phone, it'll automatically do it. And then you'll see this light up and see either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Once it does, you can select it. And Apple users, it's gonna look just like your phone. Android users, it's gonna be a little bit different, but you're gonna recognize everything. And buttons will run down the side and give you it for Apple users, and then Android-based users, they'll run along the bottom. So I've made a video on it. If you have questions about it, just let me know. So that's those 2 buttons. The info button you saw earlier, I can pull up tripometer information if I want, or I can do a clock and wallpaper. And you can actually customize this image back here. So if I had a thumb drive, I could load a JPEG or a PNG file and then go in manually and be able to change stuff if I wanted to turn the clock on, turn it off, make it digital, make it small, and then load a picture up or use one of the ones that they have. So if I wanted the one that they have, great. Now I'll have a different view behind there. So it just depends on what you want to see, right? So that's pretty generic. Maybe you want to put your own image up there or find something that you want to use as a background. So that's what's going on from the info button. Now phone, this is to connect up a phone, and once you've done so, to access your contacts. If you've never done so, it'll prompt you through and walk you through the steps. Let's say you've already done this for one phone and you want to add a secondary phone. Well, how to do that would be go to settings, and then from here we're going to go to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then we want to select Bluetooth device list because we want to add something to that list. And you can see I have spots for 2, 4, 6 different things. Add a Bluetooth device, and it's going to say, have you turned your Bluetooth on, and go ahead and search from there. So that's how you do that. So nothing to it. Now under settings over here, I will point out a couple other things. If you go under vehicle, this would be where you find things like your door lock settings, whether it be locking or unlocking, walk-away auto lock timers, keyless access as far as when I put my hand on the door handle outside, if it opens just that one door or all the doors. So all those features are in here. Now, if you bought the car from me, we went through a settings worksheet, and that's where all these went over. If you didn't buy a car from me, no big deal. I don't hate you, but I'm going to walk you through a couple things. So keyless access, as I mentioned, this is like door unlock modes if I wanted to unlock one door versus all the doors when I put my hand on the door. Let's back out of that one, and you can change the beeps and stuff too. Door and window, this is just basic door setup. So when you hit 10 miles an hour to automatically lock your doors, you can change that right here. As far as unlock mode, when you open your driver's side door, it's set to unlock the remaining doors. So this is where you can change that right there too. So just some general features that you can go through and stuff you can play with just to customize this car and get it a little bit more to your liking, right? So that's where this is. If you have any other questions, just feel free to reach out to me. The last one I'll point out is walk-away auto lock. This is something I usually try to get people to turn on because I think it's a cool feature. If this is on, what it means is that if I get outside of my car, I have my keys with me, once I get outside of 10 feet, it'll automatically lock the doors. So if you're the kind of person who forgets whether you lock your doors or not, and you get halfway into the grocery store and you're like, crap, my laptop's in the back, I don't want somebody to take it, this is probably a feature you want to turn on, right? And all I did was go to settings, and then I'm under door and window, as you can see up here, and then walk away auto lock. So that's what that is. So some general touches on settings. Honda Link. So the first thing I'll tell you about Honda Link, you can connect up to your car, and depending on the type of car you have and the trim level, it'll give you access to things like being able to lock the doors from your phone or be able to remote start it. If you want to see what the car you're looking at is capable of, just go to HondaLink.com. You can pull up every car, every trim, and kind of see what the options are. Now, the other thing I'll tell you about Honda Link is it's set up right now. The minute you connect your phone to Bluetooth, it's going to prompt you with a question, say, hey, would you like to be able to call 911 in the event that you go to an accident and the airbags are deployed? Meaning, if the airbags are deployed, they'll call you. If you don't answer, from there, they'll actually call 911 for you. It's 100% free. Take advantage of it. Know that your car comes with this. That's part of owning a Honda. So that's what's going on with the touchscreen up here. You can see I can jump over an instrument panel, and then I have some additional stuff as far as like a calculator and stuff like that. Before you ask about the app installer, no, you cannot just install any APK file. Honda set it up for the US to where you can't do that. In Europe, I know some of them have a little bit more access to where you can add certain apps to your home screen here. So sorry guys. Now the climate control. You have a climate control button you can press, and you can pull it up all on the touchscreen if you want. So if I wanted to turn it on and set it to a certain thing and speed. If not, no big deal. I don't necessarily have to use that. I've got fan control buttons here. Anytime I adjust on the knobs, you'll see it adjust up here. This is set up to sync right now, meaning it's controlling both left and right side. But if I unsync it, you'll notice I can change my side, and it'll stay different from the other side. So it is a dual climate control. Left and right are separate of each other. And then places where I can send the air. Okay, so below that you'll see your heated seat options. So I've got 3 different settings, and it's on both sides. So I've got heated seats in this vehicle. You saw below I have the USB, and then it's actually, there's a hole down there. You can see where the wire's running through, and it'll even hold your wire. That way you don't have to have wires dangling around the sides. But on this side you can see I have a USB on the left side, and then on the right side I have a 12-volt outlet, kind of cigarette lighter is basically what that is. Shifter, pretty self-explanatory. Park, reverse, neutral drive, sport mode, and then my lower gears 1 and 2 if I was trying to creep up a hill or down a hill, that kind of thing, to prevent sliding. My brake hold button, so I'm going to show you what this is. Let me throw my seatbelt on real quick because it is required to be on for this function to work. What it is though is if I have my seatbelt on and I have the brake hold button on, which I'll turn on here in a second, you'll see it pop up there and let you know, and then over here in the corner it'll show you that it's on. I can shift to drive, and I have my foot on the brake right now. If I left my foot off, I'm not moving. So it's designed so where if I'm in stop and go traffic, every time I come to a complete stop, it'll hold the brake for me to where I don't have to keep my foot on the brake, then gas, then brake, then gas, that. So it's a convenience feature. It's exactly what it's for. If I'm pulling up to a drive-through, it's kind of nice that it'll hold the brake for me. But keep in mind that if I take my seatbelt off, it's going to disengage brake hold. It'll immediately throw the parking brake on. I'm still in drive, but you'll see the brake hold button is no longer on. So it's not going to let you roll into anything, like if you're in a drive-through and you take off your seatbelt to reach the can if you're using it for, like the bank or something. But keep in mind that you do have to have it on for this function to work. So that's how that works. Now, while I'm down here, parking brake. To use it, it's electronic. Put your finger on it, or your foot on the brake. You lift up to set it. You'll see the red LED is on. To release it, I put my foot on the brake. I press down on the trigger. LED is release. So when it's on, not only will I have this notification here, but up here you'll see it down here in the corner. I have brake too. So that's just how that works. So that's brake hold. We went over the parking brake, so I'm gonna turn that back off. On the other side is the econ button. You turn it on, you'll see a green leaf pop up there, so you can see it flashing at you right now. What it will do is improve gas mileage of the car. In doing so, you're going to give up some acceleration off the pedal, and you're going to give up a little bit of the AC or heat controls, just meaning it'll dim them just a little bit. It's not much, but it's there, so I just let people know about it. For the average person, you could probably leave it on and never know the difference. If you're a little bit more heavy-footed when you drive, maybe turn it on and off as you go, right? My center console does have a sliding armrest, so I can slide it forward and back. I can pop it open. I've got a change holder. I've got 2 regular size cup holders, or if I want to flip down because I have a massive water bottle or something, or a big gulp, then I can go that route too, right? So that's what's going on from that standpoint. So lots of storage in there. Outside of that, you can see speakers. I've got speakers, tweeters. I've got some more speakers here. I've got another speaker down here in the back. And then in the back, I've got some more speakers. So I've got a good amount of speakers in this vehicle. It's got a little bit higher powered wattage system than the model below it. Other than that, normal new car stuff, what I call moonroofs. Not too many people ask me about moonroofs, but yes, it does have one. And you can send it open and you can crack it. To crack it, you press directly up on it to crack it. So that is how this works. So we are in a lunar silver model. This has the black interior. The only thing that really changes colors is right here, and then along the doors right there if you were in a different model as far as interior trim color. The tops of the windows and the dash are always going to be black to prevent glare. So yeah, that's what you would be changing if you went to the gray model versus this model. So you can get a quick idea of the stitching. It does have a partial racing stripe up it, so it's kind of cool. Outside of that, feel free to reach out to me. You can always comment on the YouTube video. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Usually pretty good at getting back to you. Outside of that, thank you for watching.